Звук? Звук есть. Все. Звук. Есть. Окей. Оки-доки. Я готов.
Что, как я выгляжу?
Ты выглядишь божественно. Я на камере тебя вижу. Мне не надо на тебя смотреть. У меня такой инструментарий, что я могу вслепую тебя видеть.
А знаешь, что такое tool-bag?
Tool-bag или bag? Tool-bag это и есть инструментарий. Tool-bag, yeah. По-испански las herramientas. Las herramientas, con H. Herramientas пишется. Инструменты, инструментарий. The tool-bag.
Так, идеально?
Значит, все, кто не знают, сессия будет на английском языке, и мы переходим с Глебом, моим старшим сыном. Это наша, фактически это завершение второй сессии мультиязычной. У нас была первая мультиязычная, и у нас сейчас вторая мультиязычное завершение. Мы ее начали в русском языке 15 февраля. И ровно 4 недели спустя, с хвостиком, ровно месяц почти прошел, мы завершаем ее сегодня на английском языке, а завтра испанскую версию. Так, и нам понадобится компьютер, наверное, и очкарику понадобятся очки.
Так, все, я включил.
Все включил? Скажи.
Я тут.
Все, молодец, отключаю. Саундчек завершили.
Soundcheck is done.
Ты готов?
I am ready.
Are you ready how to think out of the box? Out of the box.
I'm ready.
We are 10 minutes late. It's 4:42 Minsk time, Saturday, 14th of March. And we are at the very beginning of our English session with my elder son, elder son, Gleb. And
I'm the eldest son.
you are,
The eldest son.
so you are the eldest son.
So I've got the question ready. Because I had a question that I'm very interested in, truly, to ask you, and I have it written down. So, how to make a person? Are you ready?
Yes, I was ready 1 month ago.
Yeah, who's much more how to make a person who's much more successful than you are, comfortable in a conversation with you, and as well as not to be shy yourself. Yeah.
So, what is the name that I put at the very top of the page, which I prepared for you as a long and detailed explanatory answers for your question? Write it. Main factors.
To be considered and made ready for in advance prior to a meeting with a higher level grown-up person.
Or a higher ranked grown-up person. So these are those main factors which I'd like you or anybody who is involved to be considered and made ready for in advance prior to such conversation. And now there are two options which you have while having a meeting with a, let's say, higher level person.
Yeah.
Option A is when you meet him by chance, when you were not ready to meet him, when you were not prepared. And second one is when you have all your time and this was a pre-arranged meeting. So now let's go deeper into my answer, into my deliberations that I put into paper, but I'd like to open for all of our viewers the question itself so that they could read and better understand my thoughts and your explanations. So this is it, and give me a sec.
Yeah.
And this is you, and this is the question, and this is the question. So main factors, right? Okay. Read up and explain, but don't do it in your own words. Do it with your own life examples, as far as how you understand it. If you don't understand it quite well, tell me, give me a hint that you wouldn't like to go deeper into a subject, then I will come into a game and I will try to be the explanatory part. Okay.
And the parts that are obvious, I'm not gonna say anything, so because you've got it already written down and I'm gonna read it.
Please.
If you knew that you would meet this person and could afford enough time to get ready before your meeting, then you try to collect as much information about him, his character, his company, his family, his habits as possible. It will help you to be understanding better his way of thinking, argumenting, making own statements, and B, it could facilitate your approaching him. If only you prove being sincere and honest within your communication.
Great. So, what is the main idea that I tried to put in paper, on paper?
For example, I think if you have seen this person already, and if you have seen in the interview some kind of higher level person that you want to meet, and if you have seen him in interview, how he acts, how he does all the things, you, prior to meeting, you might already know what he wants from the conversation, what he wants depending on your sex, just
on your sex or his sex? And
no,
what sex has to do with this?
Yeah, on the sex he wants to, like, on the things he's talking about with
you mentioned word sex.
Yeah, sex, I mean like man or woman.
Yeah. The gender.
Yeah, and so what he prefers to talk about with women and what he prefers to talk about with men, usually. And so how to approach him, but being sincere as you wrote it. So I think this is the main factor to be sincere. Yeah. And the second part, if you happen to occasionally meet with this person and didn't have any time or resources to prepare in advance, then you start from a very low position and make your own examination while you converse with him, trying to thoroughly weigh and analyze every word and example or argument he brings into your conversation. Behave as if you were his student and show with all your body language and gestures that you're here to learn from him. Then if he considers you're worth spending time for, it might mean you succeeded in being a good disciple. And only then you could expect to be able to ask for another opportunity to meet with him in order to prolong your acquaintance and get deeper into your own interested subject. Obtain a bit more rights to become more specific about those things you wanted to touch upon with him. During your first occasional meeting, you need to just prove you're worth spending time for a person. Most probably you won't be able to ask anything from the topic or issue you would like to discuss with this person. If you knew in advance, you'd meet him today.
Speak up.
So I imagine this situation as if you would come to a party, probably you won't.
Why party?
Just I see it in my mind as a party because usually, as I've heard from the interviews and everyday's life of people, they might come to a party or to the bar. Usually, you don't just see them in the street. It usually depends on the interest that person has about something. He might be drinking alcohol, and so he might hang out with his friends, or it might be a private party, and you might be as well invited as if you are as a friend of somebody. And so if you come to a party, you see this person, you try to accurately and the most right way to approach him, and not to get into his private zone, but to be speaking about some topics that are kind of not on the line. They're okay to speak about just how's the weather, how are things going, not to go into the private life of the person. Yeah, that's what I think about this.
Could we stop a little bit here on the subject? First of all, let me skip back a little bit to the previous block.
Yeah.
If you knew that you would meet this person, I would like to go a little bit retrospectively back. If you knew that you would meet this person and could afford enough time to get ready before your meeting, what would be your tools? What would you do? And let's invent this person. Let's suppose this is Jeff Bezos.
Yeah.
The most famous and the most rich, the richest person in the world. You can have all the information about him, about his private life, about his company, startup, so many books written and so on. So supposed you knew that you would have a fixed meeting, that somebody already prearranged for you, a meeting with Mr. Jeff Bezos. So tell me, what preparatory work, what propedeutic work would you do?
Luckily, I've seen an interview with Jeff Bezos, and we haven't talked about it yet, but I wanted just to say, as if you, from the moment you said Jeff Bezos, and about this topic to speak up, I can say that I've seen an interview on YouTube, a kind of interview. It was much more as a person was talking about Jeff Bezos and his habits. So I've heard that he reads a lot of books, so because I don't read a lot of books, honestly, but I would love to, and I would, if I would meet him somewhere, I would just talk about, if I could be prepared. Okay.
This is a prearranged meeting, so somebody called and told him, and you invent the reason. Now you will tell me the reason. What could have been the case that somebody called him and arranged, or his secretary, what was her name? I don't remember. His personal assistant. Not
like
in this paper.
Kirsten?
No, she was Powers. Alice Powers. Alice Powers. So personal assistant of Jeff Bezos, Alice Powers. Yeah. I think she was Alice Powers. Surname is Powers. So she arranged the meeting for you. First of all, invent what could be the case. What could be the essence, the subject, the main topic of your meeting, Jeff Bezos. And secondly, you are vastly explaining that you would read, that you would check. What is the main essence? What instrumentary you will bring? What toolkit you will bring? What will be those things that you will assemble and prepare for that meeting? Tell me. Alice Powers arranged a meeting for you and Mr. Jeff Bezos. You are trying to get ready for this meeting. Yes, you have all the information. Is this the information that you will watch the movies, I wanted to say, that you will watch some videos and conversations and his speeches on some summits? Is this the information which you will bring? What will be your instruments, in particular? Tell me. Jeff Bezos, Alice Powers arranged. So, two questions within this frame. A, what is the topic you are going to discuss with a high-level person? There is no other high-level person. Maybe only Mr. Trump or Mr. Putin. There is nobody else. So there is Jeff Bezos among those three top high-level people in the world. So with Jeff Bezos, what would be the reason, the topic, and secondly, what instruments you will get ready? That's all. And then we will pass to the second point for the unprepared, how you would call it, when you happen to meet somebody, when you run into somebody.
Yeah.
So unprepared, running into somebody. This will be the continuation of our conversation. But right now, tell me these two things. Make your brain work.
Okay, so
what is the topic?
First of all, the topic for me, if I'd meet Jeff Bezos, I think because I first of all I wanted to say to ask him, if we would meet, to ask him about money, how he makes how he makes money out of nowhere, and how he came to how he reached that level when he's got so much money. But as I thought deeper into this, it's not the most interesting thing for me, because I'm not sure what, for me it would be a question, what is interesting in his work right now, because nobody knows surely what he's doing concretely, what he's doing on his daily basis. Because I've heard he's got a lot of meetings with people to propel his company, and business meetings with, he's meeting a lot of people as a consequence. And I would love to know what he's doing on daily basis, in the sense of how he's working, because he's got pretty much a lot of people in his company, how he controls all the people and how they are working, and as well as how he found this passion, because he didn't quit. I remember he started as just selling books. It was a bookshop. Amazon started as a bookshop, I think in 1994, and then it was going up, but then there was like a leap in 1999 or 1998. There was a leap when their sales started to go up, their company started to progress. And so I'd love to ask, how did he find this passion and why he didn't quit? Because I think that he would already quit if he didn't make it. He would waste 5 years of life just for doing something that he doesn't like. But he arranged a bookshop. I don't know.
Do you know why he arranged a bookshop?
No, that's my question.
I can tell you. He told it in many times. You didn't. How many interviews of Jeff Bezos you watched?
I think one.
There are hundreds. So he started with bookshop only because of one reason. There was the most items to be possibly placed in the internet shop were books. The most itemized in the world out of all other products, juices, cars, sport equipment, whatever, the most items that could be placed into an internet shop was books. The choice was very simple. It was by chance. By logic, but by chance. He told it many times. I think you are not aware of many things about Jeff Bezos.
Yeah,
and
I'm sure.
Are you really naming the... First of all, I asked, what is the topic of your meeting? And you told about your questions. I will bring you to that and I will come to that. But tell me, what was the topic what was supposed, what could be the topic that you might be arranged a meeting for with Jeff Bezos. What topic he is apt or was supposed to have with you and agree to have with you. It should be a declared topic. So what topic could have been? You didn't name it. And then I will come to your question. How did you make money? Is it that simple? Is this the question you would like to ask?
No, I said that I'm not
First, let's
interested
come
in
to
this
the
question.
topic.
I'm not
Please.
interested in making money just from like how
First,
Jeff Bezos does
invent
his
a
money.
topic. I will wait.
Yeah.
Invent a topic. What could be the topic? The most successful, the most rich person in the world, and Mr. Gleb Dobrovolskiy, 15 years old. What can be a topic of prearranged meeting between you and him? Make your brain work, please. Invent any. Make it interesting. Don't rush. I will wait 2 minutes, 5 minutes.
Okay, what's interesting in his job? That's my question. Because I don't know, I'm not interested
What's
in
interesting
selling
in
books,
Mr. Jeff Bezos' job?
Yeah.
And he should agree with you for a meeting.
No, he doesn't.
No, it is a prearranged meeting. He's
Yeah.
waiting for you. So he's waiting for you on the topic what is interesting in his job.
No, I think
I'm
that-
asking not about
yeah.
the question which you will ask.
Okay.
I'm asking about the topic of the meeting. There is a declared topic. Topic is promotion of some business. Topic is to gain the share of the market. Topic is to decrease your own expenses. Topic is to speak about the family problems or whatever. So what is the topic? Not a question.
Yeah.
Within the topic there can be 100 or 1 questions within the topic. But what is the topic?
I think the promotion of Amazon, how it grew up, how it grew from the company that was just selling books, and right now they are selling by drones and sending everything to any place in like, almost USA.
I try to bring you from the very far, but things seems you are not following me. Is Jeff Bezos, real Jeff Bezos, you know from the podcasts, from the lectures, from the speeches he does, him, as far as you can understand. After having said 5,000 times how Amazon started from A to Z to all the world, he is going to talk to you again about the same? To a 15-year boy who is coming to him, he will again sit in front of you, having most valuable time in his life, and start speaking to you. Jeff Bezos, we are speaking of Jeff Bezos, not about somebody. How started Amazon? Gleb, Amazon started from a bookstore. McKinsey, my ex-wife, was helping me, and then we decided to make the most, how you call it, the the most taxonomic item, which was books at that time, and we entered it into the shop, and by chance it was the time when everybody started placing into Amazon their offers, blah 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 blah. Is this you are going to get from him, and is this he going to explain to you for 5,001st time? It is in open sources everywhere. Let me, if this is the case, let me now start speaking, because I think you are not following.
Okay, my question,
Not question,
mostly
topic.
my topic
Topic.
is the promotion of the company and how he promotes, how he's dealing with marketing of Amazon, how he dealt with it.
He spoke it on many lectures.
And-
He is making a preliminary meeting.
Okay, tell me.
And on the meeting, I will tell you, he said that first of all, he has a brother who is a company member, and he mentioned that they never have, before the weekly meeting, any email exchange. They bring, before a meeting, first of all, they invite, every time they try to invite a new department manager from some divisions of the company, who is part of their meeting, and they used to call it, I think, 2 pizzas meeting, because in early times, I think 2 pizzas, not 3 pizzas, 2 pizzas meeting. They really have it till now. The name 2 pizzas meeting. because they were discussing, pondering the ideas and hashing out the subjects. And in the meanwhile, they needed to bring pizzas to eat while they're conversing. So the person, a new person from one of the departments, is bringing every time a printed information. And it is usually a brief, let's say 1 page, 2 page information.
Yeah.
And placing to each one, to every person at the table. And they never have emails or the messenger messenger messages exchange prior to this meeting. Not to have their memory erased, part information, not to have partly the information from the memory erased before the meeting. When they come to a meeting, a secretary is placing to everybody those 1, 2, or 3 pages that this department manager prepared for this meeting and who is moderating the meeting. And they spend first 10 to 15 minutes simply reading. They sit and take their time, not waste their time, but take their time in reading. What is the matter? And then they start placing their questions. What is the question? What is the question? You place the question. And it is a fresh information with which they receive. So he explained it many times, these 2 pizza principles and how started Amazon. Let me ask you one, because I think you might be thinking for ages or for years about this. I think that the question which you should bring, which anybody should bring to any conversation, not only with Jeff Bezos, but with such people, is something very uncommon, not related to their business, because they wrote books, they told anything about their business, and you could discuss business in business atmosphere or anything. But you should ask something, firstly, very general, because you are not very close and personal to this person. But secondly, something which is not commonly disclosed in the internet. For example, what advice, for example, it just strikes me, what advice could you give for any youngster of my age? It should be about you, it should not be about him. It should be about you. You came to get advice. You came not to listen to a lecture, but you came to get some advice. So I would ask, what advice would you give Mr. Jeff Bezos for me to follow my life to become a successful and or happy person? And what do you think? What is more important, to be a happy person or successful? Are you happy, a happy person, Mr. Jeff Bezos? You are successful. Are you happy? If you are happy, please tell me both things, how they combine. How I myself, Gleb Dobrovolskiy, which way should I take, which he has used many times one word, resourceful, Jeff Bezos, in his lectures and in his interviews. In one interview he told, I would prefer, I think he has 3 children from McKinsey, I think, yeah? I think two or three. So he said, I want my children to put their nose to every place of ambience of the world, and even they lose, to start gluing up something, to start doing something with their hands. And I would prefer, he said, they lose a little finger, maybe some minor percentage that they will lose in being here and there, they will lose a little finger, but they will attain, they will obtain resourcefulness in this life. He pronounced this word that the most, for his opinion, upon his opinion, the most valuable, the most precious, the most instrumental, pragmatic thing in our life is resourcefulness. He is teaching, he has been teaching his children to know how to be resourceful, how to use life resources, communication, instruments, YouTube, smartphones, some other things. You name it, there are hundreds. And the more resourceful you are with all of this, milking a cow, shipping, how you would call it, being a shepherd, anything, the more you try, the more you could know, and then you would understand how to use it. But this resourcefulness is a very precious thing. So I would ask him a very general thing, but a very general and personal about yourself. What advice he could give? All other things you can find in internet. You really come and you check how the Amazon started, this started, how the meetings are passed, this, how he became successful, okay, how the books turned into the empire of all other things. All of these issues are in the open sources. But the only very particular, very peculiar, very idiosyncratic advice which he could give you should be about you, not about him. What advice? This is my opinion. I'm just right now deliberating. So I'm 15 years old. I don't know this life yet. I happened to meet you, Mr. Jeff Bezos, once in a lifetime, maybe. Please give me your advice. What could be the way to be happy? And are you a happy person? If you could disclose this to me. And is it directly related to success? And then how to be happy through success? What is the way? In general, without going into details, you try to go to Harvard or Cambridge or any other universities in the world, and so on and so on, how to come to politics. These are details. But when he gives you the general advice, which you also understand the difference, the gap, huge gap between your experience in life and his experience in life, so whatever light he could bring down to you, it will be very much helpful, useful, and again I will use this word instrumentally. As a tool, you could use it. This was the first one. Now let's pass to a second question. You read it already.
Yep.
So the second one is, if the meeting was not prearranged and you made the situation that it is a party or it is something, shall we keep on with Jeff Bezos or shall we skip? Let's invent another person. Let's take Mark Zuckerberg. Let's take Mark Zuckerberg. Aren't you against, no?
I'm not against.
Okay, so we take Mark Zuckerberg, as they call him in America. Mike Zuckerberg. Mark Zuckerberg. So you happen to meet him at a party. There is a party, there is a bar, there is some situation, and in the corner, Mark Zuckerberg, and he was a dream of your dreams to meet. Don't yawn. Don't you dare to yawn. Okay? So, and so then you start from a very low position and make your own examination while you converse with him, trying to thoroughly weigh and analyze every word and example or argument he brings into your conversation. Behave as if you were his student and show with all your body language and gestures all your body language and gestures that you are here to learn from him. Then, if he considers you are worth spending time for, it might mean you succeeded in being a good disciple. And only then you could expect to be able to ask for another opportunity to meet with him in order to prolong your acquaintance and get deeper into your own interested subject. Obtain a bit more rights to become more specific about those things you wanted to touch upon with him. During your first occasional meeting, you need to just prove you are a worth spending time for person. Most probably, you won't be able even to ask anything from the topic or issue you liked to discuss with this person. If you knew in advance you'd meet him today. Anyway, the correct name of the above process is maximum cautiousness and attention and learning. So, tell me, there is Mark Zuckerberg in the corner. What would be your first question to start chatting with him? And it is not a prepared meeting. And you might be not welcome. And you might be a persona, not persona non grata, but you might be a persona very much out of his circles.
Yeah.
You are out of his circles, definitely, but I don't know how you happened to be at this lovely party where Mark Zuckerberg is sitting in the corner. So what would be your start of conversation with him? And suppose he's alone. Suppose he's there, he's sitting in the corner, and he's maybe even dull, or not dull. He's upset. He's upset with something, and he might be distracted. He might have some problems. You never know, but you see that there is a lonely person, and this is Mr. Mark Zuckerberg. What will be the beginning of your conversation to him? What will be and how you would dare to approach him, knowing he is who he is?
I think I would start a conversation with, hi Mark, am I not distracting you right now? And could I ask you, if I'm not distracting you, could I ask you a question? And if he says, no, leave me alone, okay, so that's pretty reasonable. And if he doesn't, so after this, I'm gonna get into the topic or question that I wanna ask him.
Are you paying attention to every word when such person is sitting front of you, front to you?
Yeah.
And every word spoken will either turn in your favor or against you. So, hi Mark, are you well known to him? Because hi, we are saying to people whom we know. Hi Dad, hi Mick, hi this. Why you start conversation with hi to an unknown person?
Hi Mr. Mark.
Again, hi.
Yeah, because
This is the first word. You say hi.
Hi.
Okay.
Because hello is even more friendly.
Don't you think that you should excuse yourself first of all? Very humbly.
I think it's even better if he...
Can I advise a piece of very polite way to approach an unknown person, knowing him personally and understanding he doesn't know anything about you, and you know that the gap between your social status, your position in life, and his achievements is vast like the universe?
Yeah.
You should start from I am sorry. You should start not from hi. Before hi should be I am very sorry. Looking into his eyes. Just to get his eyes lifted. To make him look at you, because when you say hi Mark, he might just stand up, go.
Yeah.
As if he heard nothing.
Yeah.
It might be the case. If he is really upset, hi Mark is an intrusion. You are an intruder into his life. And anyway, you understand that you are anyway an intruder.
What is an intruder?
Intruder, вторгающийся. To intrude, это вторгаться, без разрешения в основном. So if you are an intruder, if you are penetrating into his life, entering without his own permission, he never gave you permission. So to get this permission, to get this high permission of Mr. Mark Zuckerberg, you should very humbly, modestly, and politely start with, I am very sorry, Mr. Mark. I am very sorry.
Or excuse me.
There is nothing to, or excuse me, but I mean, okay, excuse, you are asking excuses already for something. You didn't do anything bad yet, but excusez-moi in French, yes, it might be the case. But I would start, I am very sorry, Mr. Mark. Can I kindly ask one question if you don't mind? And if he says yes, you go into conversation. If he says, sorry, chap, lad, buddy, mate, sorry, I'm really also, he will be very polite, I'm sure. He will say, I am very sorry also, but please, I'd like to be left alone for a while and kindly don't distract me for some time. Then we might converse.
Yeah.
Or whatever. He will also very politely decline your intrusion. Or then he will lift up his eyes on your very humble, I'm very sorry, Mr. Mark. He will just lift up his eyes. And then if you will start again with, can I kindly ask one thing from you? Just one thing. And he will give you his permission. So you anyway should understand that such occasion might happen once in life. Yeah. You cannot waste it just with a little wrong word placed in a wrong position. You should value every word and be as much grounded, low person with very sincere and very humble and very, it will be correct word. Not even positive, it will be very предубедительно. Let me see how it will be, the предубедительно. One sec. Let me see what is the correct word. Because we need to use only correct words with all people, but with such people more than ever. So it is предубедительно in Russian. Awesome. Предупредительно. Preventive, precautionary.
Yeah.
So you should be preventive, precautionary, preventable, and attentive. Because it is once in your life. And if he looks at you with the wrong sight, you lost your chance. Let's keep on.
And how old is Mark Zuckerberg? Do you know his age?
I think around 45, 43.
45?
I think so, yes.
Already?
Maybe 40, above 40 should be, 40 maybe 42, I don't know. You could check it in the internet. So it was maximum cautiousness and attention and learning. And what would be the question, by the way? Tell me, what would be the question you would want to ask from Mark Zuckerberg, or no question? Because for me, I have no question for Mark Zuckerberg. No at all.
I think, just from my experience, if people are really concerned about their happiness, they are pretty open to talk. And if you ask them about happiness, how would they act if they knew that happiness is
Gleb, sorry,
yeah.
I am very sorry now. What, do you have a question for Mark Zuckerberg if you happen to sit to catch him in the bar and he lets you to ask this question? Do you have a question?
Yeah.
Not a meditation all around.
Yeah, I'm just saying, I'm coming to my question.
Ah, okay, sorry.
And they're pretty open to talk about how would they live and how would they lead their life to happiness. And my question would be mainly, maybe as a kid.
You are stating right now for other person, you know him very well, that
No,
you are
I'm
saying
typically.
such
I'm
people
not saying-
typically. There are no such, I would
Yeah,
not
so
agree.
I might be wrong. He might ignore me.
I
but
wouldn't agree. There are no typical people. Nobody speaks about happiness so freely. Nobody speaks about. You should cozy up a person, come up close and personal to him, and so on. Don't make statement for his own. Just have your own question. It is a shot. You either have it or not have it. You might put to blanco, or you might hit the target, the aim. So make your question. Don't deliberate on his behalf. I don't know what is in the head of Mr. Mark Zuckerberg. I don't know what is in your head. I know only what right now is in my head. So don't start from usually these people. Maybe yes, maybe not.
Okay.
What is your question? I don't have question. Again, you might say, I don't have question for Mark Zuckerberg. Do you have it? If you have it, tell it to me. If not, then just say, I don't have any question to Mark Zuckerberg. It's okay not to have questions to many people. Don't try to be banal. Don't try to be banalny.
Yeah.
Don't try to be simple, simplistic. Don't ask some simplistic questions. Try to make a very particular question, if you can.
I don't know yet what would I ask
Okay.
Mark Zuckerberg.
Okay, going further.
Yeah. You should primarily apply all your efforts to gain trust of this person. Try to always present him proofs of your own words to show you're not an empty, typical modern youngster, a chatterbox and not a serious guy. If you say something well known to you, but not a very known subject to this person, be ready to show your sources of knowledge. Present him or her a verified info from the internet, or show some printed paper info if you could bring it along, having prepared it well in advance. Or refer to a commonly respected person's words if you're sure that another person known to you both could confirm them as well. If or when your interlocutor would get in touch with him or her later and would ask references about you and your provided information.
Okay. Tell your story.
Yeah.
Do you have a story about this?
No, I don't. I just...
You never have, you never had any situation in life when you needed to prove yourself through gaining trust of some person?
Right, I think usually if I want to meet person who is a little bit more successful in something, he might be close to my circle of acquaintance, and usually we would discuss the things that we have already done. So I mean, if we're talking about music, so we're talking about the topics that we've been writing songs
With a
about.
high-level person.
No, I mean,
We are discussing today a high-level person. Only.
Yeah, and so you're either making a promise to a person, and then you
Do you have a
make
story? Do you have a story?
Like,
My
no.
question was,
Not a
didn't
story,
you
because
within
with
your
people-
15 and a
yeah.
half years in Canarian Islands with so
Yeah.
many coaches, in India, in Spain, in here and there, didn't you have any one situation in life when you needed to gain trust from one person and to prove it? Never in your life?
I've been, but if just the person tells me not to tell somebody, and if this is a secret, if we're getting into the secrets,
So what
I'm not
is
telling anybody, and this is the way I'm getting trust usually. And so we're getting to talk because I don't want to be talking with a person who is even more successful with me, but he's arrogant. So I try to talk about the interesting themes, and if we don't have any crossed interesting topics to talk about. So for what do I need to talk with him? Because I haven't met like a person who is the most successful person that I want to be talking with, because I know pretty much some people that are very
Sorry.
Yeah.
What do you mean by you never met the most successful? Do you need to meet
No.
most successful
No,
person
I
or
mean
any higher level person?
the
there are so
yeah.
many people of much higher level than you in life yet.
Yeah.
And due to your age, and due to your unexperience and their experience, and due to their successes, and you're not so being successful in some working spheres as yet. So what do you mean by you never met the most successful person? You don't need to meet most successful person. We don't know by which category who is the most successful, who has more money, who has more children, who has more friends, who has more wives in Islamic countries. Who is the most successful, by what criteria? So don't mention this most successful. There are many successful people whom you met already in your life. Didn't you have any occasion when you needed to prove yourself through gaining trust of this person?
I think I might tell some story from a basketball perspective, because I now can remember. So I had a player, on my team I had a player who was playing better than me basketball. He's 2 or 3 years older than me. And so right now he's playing in USA, and we were both in Spain playing. So I knew that he's a hard worker, and as well as he's pretty talented.
A black guy?
Yeah.
You're okay.
And
what was the name?
He knows. I don't want to be talking about names.
All right.
And but it's not the guys when you were in Spain with me coming to them, because you haven't seen him.
All right.
And so right now he's in USA. He's playing for school, the high school, and I asked him once about how he's running so fast, because he's running very fast. Then he told me that it's just we were playing in one team, and so I had to make a lot of stuff. He had to make a lot of stuff. He was running, he was dunking, and he was shooting everything. And so when he gave me pass, I had to prove that I'm worth something, and that I would make this shot. And so if I didn't, I would of course say sorry and run back into the defense. And as well as previous to this game that we had in one team, I was playing one-on-one with him. So I already knew that we're kind of competing. So I tried to beat him in the basketball game. We were playing up to 11. Then I scored first 5 points. And then he started playing aggressively as much as he can. And so he scored 11 points. We were playing up to 11, and I scored 7. So we already knew that we can prove each other that we're not the losers. But I knew that he's better than me. So we were playing, I had to prove something to him, because if I lost and wasn't able to make something on the basketball court with him, so for what does he need to be talking with me? And I just, after this, I asked him about how he came to the CBA camp and how he came to be playing for the CBA team. He said that he had problems with his abdominal muscles on the one side, and he couldn't run as right, as precise as he can now. So he would go to the doctor, to the physical doctor, and they would give him some exercises, and he would go three times a week early in the morning to this physical therapist to work with him and to get his abdominal muscles right, because he was running like this. And then after this he could keep his back straight.
Microphone, carefully.
Yeah, and he could be running great. And so after the conversation I asked about him, why is he playing so great right now? What are the main factors? And he's pretty strong, so I asked how many times he's going to the gym, how he's eating in brief, and then he told me that I'm not as fast as I can be, so probably I have some kind of trigger points in my muscles, in some of my muscles in the body. So if I'm getting rid of them, I might be running much faster than this.
Dear Mr. Gleb
Yeah.
Dobrovolskiy,
Yeah.
was this your long and eloquent answer on the question which I asked regarding, could you give one example
I can.
when a higher level person got your trust through your own actions? Was this the reply?
Okay, I
Long
can
and
tell.
eloquent
I can say in brief, just as you mentioned. I think that the best way to gain trust of this person, or to be kind of getting closer to a person, not to a high level, but to getting closer and gaining trust of this person, is to prove that you're worth something. Because if you're not, so you're a fan, you're just a fan of this person, he can just sign you an autograph, and then he...
So how you proved it?
So that's all.
What was your proof?
You make your...
Don't speak theory. I asked
you
your
prove,
example.
You prove that you...
You or anybody?
Me. So if
You
I'm
proved-
coming to him, I have to prove. If somebody
So
else
how
coming
you
to
proved
him,
it?
I prove if I come to a person.
I asked for your example from your own life.
So I
My
proved
dear
because
son.
I challenged him to play one-on-one, and I wasn't 0 up to 0 to 11, because he gained 11
So
points.
you got his trust by playing with him in basketball?
No, because I showed that I can compete with him, and so...
Is it a trust? You are, okay, you are strong. Did you gain his trust? By what? Trust in what? How he started trusting you? Did you save him from the river by sacrificing your own clothes, expensive watch or anything?
No.
How you obtained trust of a person?
That I showed him that I'm interested to get better, and I showed him that. And after this, when I asked him a question, he could tell me, because he could see that I'm trying to be better at playing basketball.
So what?
And
What
so
it has
he
to do
told
with
me.
trust? You got his respect that you are a physically able person. Okay, so you got respect in sports. Nothing to do with trust. Trust is a deep, strong, to be proved thing. To keep your word, to keep your principles, to stand by your principles, to uphold and fight for your principles, to prove that you are not a chatterbox, that every word you say, it is based, grounded, and it is always proved to be truthful. This is steps of trust. But to prove that you are playing and hard working in basketball, it is about just character. It is nothing to do about trust. There are very many, I would say, bad people, socially bad people. There are many killers. There are many absolutely unsocial people who are very strong characters, who were good sportsmen in the past, who can work hard. Nothing to do with trust to other people. they don't trust to anybody, nobody else trusts to them also. There's nothing to do with trust. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I think you wrongly understand the word of
Okay,
trust.
and the second one is, I think, from the story that I said. I told him that I'm not as great, so I'm bad in some aspects of the basketball game.
Okay.
And I told him where I'm lacking, and I asked him how to get better at those aspects. And when I said my problem, he could tell me the story of his problem, how he got better. So I told him my problems, and if you're saying your problems, the person will see that you are interested in getting trust, and you're more
okay,
open.
this is the first step. To share something from your inner world with any other person is the first step to gaining trust. It is when you are making first step and sharing something very intimate, belonging to just yourself, that you don't share with anybody, with everybody, only with a close circle. And if you let this information to such a person, it is as if you are putting him into this closed circle of those people whom you are sharing such information or such secret or such inner thoughts, ideas, whatever is living in your soul and in your mind. You bring him into this circle. This is the first step to gain trust. Yes, such things, yes. When you are opening yourself and you are proving that you are not afraid, you can share with me your ideas, secrets, thoughts, and so on, or not, but I'm open. First of all, you are proving you are a strong person. You are never afraid of losing. This is already a good thing. And secondly, you are making a first step. Whoever makes the first step, he always could count that the opposite side also might make their own, his own, her own step towards yourself. This is the first step to attain trust. Yes, good example. Going ahead.
And which are these steps of gaining trust by your theory?
By my own understanding. Yeah.
Yeah, like in
from
steps.
your peer, you asked. From your
no, doesn't matter. Just what is your strategy usually of gaining trust of the person?
I always understand one thing, that I should give first prior to asking for something. This is my main principle, main overall. I can never ask for anything, and nobody can ever ask for anything unless he is in trouble, prior to giving first. So this is my first and ultimate and most widely used principle. I first offer, and I first prove, and I first expose myself, and I first give the word and keep it, or I first pay, and then I ask for something in return, and not always get back. And I understand this, but this is a very strong, tempting, and hooking principle. You are really getting a person on a hook, that you already made your word, financing, promise, approach, some work unpaid, and then you expect, which is not guaranteed, but you expect the opposite side, the other side, to do something in return. And it shows immediately, if he does or her, this might be already a good relationship. If he doesn't, then you are happy that you understood what kind of person this human being is, what kind of human being this person is. This is a better structure. Okay, so the main thing, the main principle which I use, this is the, you would call it the benchmark, the landmark which I use is, you should outperform, you should expose yourself,
I'm not yawning.
You should make a promise and keep your word first, in order to be able to expect anything from the from the opposite side. This is the main thing. And then this is the first step to start getting trust. And then if you never make then the so-called history of your deeds start. This was the first one. You are judged upon itself. Then you are making the second step, second promise, and the history of such promises done, work done without any expectation, paid or not paid, some steps towards another unpromised thing done, and your history is making pluses or minuses in your own biography. And the more pluses you have, or if only pluses you have with some person, you cannot have only pluses with all people, but you have only pluses with some group of people, you have only minuses with other group of people, you have pluses and minuses with some others. So the most valuable ones for you in your private life, personal life, in your business life, in your life with friends, which is not so private and not so business oriented, this is another group, some other social life, you should consider for yourself where you should have, where you must have more pluses or only pluses. And with some people, better you have only pluses. With some others, you cannot avoid minuses. Anyway, you cannot avoid mistakes, mishaps, failures, problems in life. And this will be all minuses. Some you can close with another plus, put ahead. Some you cannot.
Can we put into perspective, if I just, let's imagine, if I would want to work with the best coach in the imaginable camp.
Are we speaking about basketball?
Yeah. So if I'd love to work with the best coach of this camp,
yes,
and I would want to work on my skills, on my skill set in basketball. So I've got some questions ready for him. But I didn't have the opportunity because he's the best and he has a lot of disciples, he has a lot of students that he needs to teach in the basketball. He's coming to work every day. And so if we would stay in one place, I mean sleeping not in the same room, but in one building. And if he asks, just let's imagine, how could I get and gain his trust to work with me? No, if I want to work with him, which are the ways that I can gain his trust? In my head, if he would ask from this building, the people that we live, like let's imagine it's three floors of the building we have, and then we come to the first floor, and then he asks, who can help me? Who can help me with working?
Everybody would like to help him. Because he is the best coach in the world, so everybody would like to get his trust. Do you want to gain his trust more than anybody else?
Yeah.
I will tell you the secret. The secret is you let all others gain his trust and you help the others. So you help the others to be ahead of you. Don't try to be ahead of them to gain his trust. You help the others because everybody would like to bring him some balls. Everybody would like to perform the most hard work and to show. Help others to gain his trust. Then you will get his ultimate trust through others. Not directly. It will be an indirect trust. Don't try to prove you are better than others in your trials to gain his or her trust. It will come automatically.
I don't really understand deeply into the matter. How can I help to gain trust to those people?
I will tell you the example.
Yeah.
You are 10 people in the team, and he says, who can help me with something? Mm-hmm. and everybody would like to be the part of this. So if 5 people lift the hand, you should be the first to put it down and say, yes, the Serge or Antonio or whoever else, you go ahead. Because this is about service. Everybody would like to serve the king. Let others serve. You want to serve, but if they want to outperform, let them. Wait unlimited time until he points you by himself. Knowing that there are every time, I want, and they will be performing, he will see that you were within the group, but you let them go ahead of you. Although you are equal, suppose you are all equal, then at some moment he will say, I want Gleb. Antonio, you were, Serge, you were, Gleb, now you are with me. And this is the first step. Because all other times you were not trying to prove you are better. You were not trying to show you are better than your guys. Because anyway, in sports, everybody tries to show he's better. Yeah. You should try to apply maximum effort to show him that you are a part of a team. This is the most important issue in sports and in life. If you are a part of a team, it means you serve the team. You serve the team. There is разыгрывающий in basketball. There is a guy who is not shooting, who is not running, who is, I don't know, you know this English word? Yeah. Who is serving all others. He's the top player, but he's serving others.
Yeah, but right now he
so in life you should be trying to be this person.
Yeah,
he can be the best shooter, he can be not.
So.
Stephen Curry is the best shooter also.
Yeah, but he is
this
guard, point guard.
So he is the one who is making most passes, and he knows the game better, but he is not scoring himself. He is giving the pass, he is giving the ball, he is giving the how you would call it, the assistance to his team players. Yeah,
and I think
unselfish or selfless, like my center. Unselfish.
I think that if he gives everybody an opportunity, and because he's a point guard, and right now he's probably the best shooter in the basketball world, and he gives everybody an opportunity to stand up and to show themselves. But then the coach says, no, right now you go. Right now you score your points.
So did you get my point?
Yeah.
So try to be
a part of the team.
As humble as you can, and put your ego as deep down as you can. If this coach would consider you are worth, he will see. He's the best coach. He knows how to rate, how to choose, how to select the celebrities, the best players. If you are worth, he will find you. But don't try to prove you are the best by exposing yourself, by showing yourself. Work as hard as you can. But when others want to outperform, let everybody else to outperform, to show their skills, assist them, help them. You will get friends from them, you will get respect from this coach, because he will anyway see the disposition that everybody wants to show himself, to prove himself. Gleb also wants, but he is supportive, he is trying to assist to all the rest. This is much more important, rather than to try to prove yourself. You are the best. I'm the best, I will prove, whatever it takes. Did you get the secret, yeah? Do we proceed?
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's finish up in 15 minutes, so that the session was within 1.5 hours, as it ought to be. Now, we are going from trust to another. So, B, try to find a subject matters issue where you could make some promise and then fulfill it. Keep it afterwards. when some time has passed after your meeting, in order to prove you are a serious, trustworthy person. So you should always try to find the good reason to make a promise and then keep it. Do you understand me? If you want to prove something to anybody, to a high-level person, to a friend, to a possible friend, to a future friend, you try to find a good reason and make some promise. What is a promise?
Promise when you say...
No, what is a promise? Explain me, what is a promise in 1 or 2 words? 1 or 2 words. Give me a synonym that kills it.
Oh, okay.
A promise is a self-obligation.
Yeah.
Nobody asked you to promise, but you are taking a self-obligation. You are saying, Michael, you never asked, but I'm making a promise within 2 weeks I will bring this, I will do that, I will arrange this, I will relate it to yourself or relate it to other person or relate it to anything in life. But if you know that you would be able to provide something that is needed, that is required, might be requested or not, but you might be helpful, then you take this self-obligation that nobody asked. And then you prove again that you are a trustworthy person after you having fulfilled it. So a promise is a very strong thing. Usually people don't promise, or they promise and break it. Most whom I know, they usually make a promise and break it. But if you try to get trust from anybody, then you put a self-obligation over your shoulders, which is a promise, and you take your time to fulfill it and try to bring it, try to provide it. A very correct word. You should provide after you made a promise. And never make a promise if you cannot provide. If you think you could do, don't make a promise. A promise is the ultimate, final, considered thing. And if you don't fulfill it, there should be more strong reasons than the promise itself. Death, health of somebody else, and so on. And you should advise, you should notify, you should inform the person whom you made a promise to about the impossibility to make the promise as soon as you understand that it will be impossible to do. Don't wait till the final moment. Do you understand me?
Yeah.
You made a promise in 2 weeks to provide something. In
Make it
2
in
days,
1 week.
in 2 days you understand you won't be able for some objective or subjective reasons. You shouldn't wait for 1 week more, for 10 days, and then 1 day prior to it inform. Or after the term passed, you just inform, like most people do. When you receive a call and the person to whom you made a promise, he is inquiring why the promise was not made, supposed, and you place, many people place on the table some shitty reasons. And they say, this was the reason. And the first question which is arising, did you know about these reasons just now, or you do not respect other people that much that you never informed, advised, notified them in due time about that? There is due time about information, and due time is usually when? As soon as you know about it. Yeah. As soon as you are aware you won't be able to fulfill your promise, you immediately notify, inform, send a message, send a mail, call to a person that was your object, that was the vis-a-vis to whom you made this promise. And it shows your attention, attitude to this person, politeness, kindness, and also a trustworthiness. As soon as you have known that you wouldn't be able to fulfill it, things happen in life, immediately you do it. And then he would respect you, maybe even more. Maybe the promise was less important to him or her than your information that you wouldn't be able to fulfill it. Because to recognize is correct word. To recognize that you are unable to fulfill your promise is a strong deed, a strong act. And when you are recognizing, I'm not able, I promised in vain, I promised the things that I cannot deliver, I cannot provide for. And then you immediately notify. You call, you come, better you do it face to face, and you say, this is the reason I made my promise, and this is the reason I'm breaking it. And you can take it or leave it, but I'm explaining, and I'm sorry that I could not provide, I could not fulfill. Then you are getting your trust again. You are getting your trust through information about not being able, about not being possible to deliver what you've promised. You are still with plus. This is not minus.
Yeah.
This is again plus. And finishing up.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Yeah. So, have your business attributes and devices ready and working. Smartphone, iPad, all other attributes and so on, which should be working. Then,
if this person turned to be a really nice human being with a spectacular manners, attitude and behavior and knowledge, then you try to catch with your maximum possible attention every of his thought or piece of advice. Copy his manners, speech, posture. Try to very humbly ask if possible to get his contacts in order to try and resort to his assistance or advice in the future, if this does not make him uncomfortable. If this person proves to show he's an absolute asshole...
This we will come to, an asshole. So, anything to say about point A?
Yeah, I think if you are trying to reach a highly successful person, as I am going to try to do this in the future, you found a person and usually you don't have success overnight, and it's your habits, it's your manners, and so you try to keep up with this person, try to learn from him, and try to be the best you can be.
1 second.
Yeah.
Sorry. Sorry, Dory.
Yeah, and because I remember this story when Michael Jordan was playing against Kobe Bryant, and Kobe Bryant died in this year. He was 41, and he was playing against Michael Jordan in 1997 or 1998, and he asked Michael how to guard his fadeaway. Fadeaway is when the person is standing and you're not shooting just in his face, but you're increasing the degree between the person. And so you're shooting like this, then you might fall on the back, but this is how it goes. And so he said that keep up with my legs, and look at the legs, look at how how my legs are standing on the ground, how I jump. And so if you can keep up with my legs, and if you can be as fast as I am, you can
Overplay me.
You can guard my fadeaway. That's how. And so he gave him this advice, and he would use it his whole career, because when Michael Jordan, he finished playing in the Bulls, in the Chicago Bulls in 1998, and Kobe Bryant has been playing in the NBA for 2 years, just for 2 years. Yeah.
So what it proves? What does it prove?
It proves that if the person is much more successful, try to keep up with his manners and everything that he does, because usually success is you get it by hard work. And so Michael would work in his legs, and he would tell Kobe that work on your legs, so that you could keep up with my fadeaways or fadeaways of somebody else. That's what.
You made a very good example, and let me ask you, how usually proper people, I would call them proper, a proper people in life, which is a very overwhelming overall characteristics to be a proper person. So how do proper people teach others in life? Usually.
Through their success.
No, they can be not successful. They can be, many of them are unsuccessful from the common point of view. I'm not speaking about successful people. Many proper people are successful.
How do they teach?
How do they teach other people to be proper?
To be proper, I think they show by their example.
They show everything by themselves. They never preach. Do you know the word preach?
Yeah.
They never teach you, they never preach, they never come and they never try to dominate you with their own knowledge, with their own skills, with anything and press it into yourself. No. Without pronouncing a word, usually, they simply teach you with their own example. And you can take it or leave it. You can either copy, which is the best, to my understanding, to my opinion, the best thing. In psychology, it is called mirroring. To mirror somebody, to take a cliche of somebody. So either you copy those proper, many of them successful people, or you're just waiting that you will get a piece of advice from them, and usually you don't get. They just show how they understand their life and which qualification of your own is needed for this. What qualification, what quality?
Be able to learn.
What is the main feature of character that you should apply to be able to copy other people? Any people, but better those who are
working, be a hard worker.
Attention. It is the only feature of character or your self-developed skill. It is not a feature of character, it is your skill which you should apply to be able to copy, to follow, to understand other people, is attention. And the more attention you could have, you could keep on being active, you could keep on being working, the more successful you will be.
And you know what? I think that attention comes from the interest. Because
definitely you cannot be attentive without interest. You will be yawning. Very attentive person. Of course, yes. Of course. Yeah. The first word in life is interest, and to make it work, to make it ignited, to kickstart, to propel this word interest, you need attention. Attention is the fuel, is a diesel for your engine, which is called interest. Interest will drive you through your life. But for this engine, you need fuel, you need diesel. And this diesel is attention. Your engine won't perform well if you are unattentive. You have interests, but you are unattentive. You are not attentive. Then your engine will not properly drive, not properly ride. But if you fuel it up with the proper diesel, which is attention, your engine will be 8 cylinders or 12 cylinders, and it will be 6 liters plus. You will drive through life on a very strong car. Okay, and let's finish up with the persons. Before nota bene, there is a type of people. We are finishing up. So there is a type of person.
If this person proves to be an absolute asshole and just pretending to belong to the high-level society and be a real deal but is indeed just a pretentious Mickey Mouse kind of person. Pretentious Mickey Mouse kind of person, boasting of himself more than talking about the subject you came to discuss with him, trying to make an impression on your young mind and soul. Then you better don't waste your time for such a Philistine showpiece and get back to your own issues as soon as possible. After you could understand the above-mentioned type of person is standing in front of you, just politely ask excuses and further on keep a past meeting with this person as a spectacular example of how you should not behave or treat other people when you reach or think you've reached a significant level of your own career. Bad examples in life sometimes teach much better than good examples. Always remember this. Final advice. Always have a strategy for what you're doing. The tactics without a strategy could only lead to an epic fail. Nota bene, try to learn from the best. Such people are very rare and therefore very valuable, just like precious gems in our life. You won't easily find them everywhere, unfortunately. For that, you will need to always keep on looking for such people around you, and then if you're lucky and God brings them into your life, try to copy their most distinguished and non-ordinary features of character, habits. Yeah.
Resume. Make your own resume. Please.
Yeah. Well, we have discussed so many topics.
No, resume of this part, not of all the
okay.
conversation.
Okay.
Resume of what you've just... There is B, which is a very important thing. We were speaking about the high-level people whom you would love to take something from, whom you like to copy after, whom you like to take after,
Yeah.
which is copying also, and whom you'd like to know how to find kind, nice, easy, very modest, very humble approach to. So, there is B kind of person. What is this B kind of person?
B kind of person is asshole.
They are assholes.
Assholes.
And
Yeah.
then they are really pretentious. They are trying to show off. They are trying to pretend that they are what they say they are,
Yeah.
what everybody thinks they are, and so on and so on. As soon as you find this person is such kind of person, very politely and humbly excuse yourself and run away. Don't waste your precious lifetime for such people, even if he is celebrity, even if he is very successful from many points of view. Don't waste your time for the Philistine showpieces. He's a showpiece, Philistine, middle brow, square townie, not brownie. Brownie is a cake.
Yeah.
So don't waste your time for empty, vain, pretentious people. Forget about them.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
And those who are real deal, who are proper people, they are like gems in our life. And you try, if God brings them into your life, usually they come by chance, by occasion. You hit into them, you run into them, they drop from sky. It is not by fishing rod that you can catch them, no.
Yeah.
Then you value them. You try to segmentize them and keep them, this part, this segment of people, this particular type, kind of people is the one which you'd like to surround yourself with.
And to be.
And to be like, yes. And those B-type assholes,
Yeah.
you try to have the example of such person of
What
how
not
you
to
should
be.
not be yourself. You try to keep this person as a spectacular example of what you should not, must not be yourself as. Keep it always as a negative example in your head and try to avoid this kind of
Thank you
people.
very
Try
much.
to not becoming. Thank you for this session. Tomorrow Spanish.
Yeah.
Be prepared.
Yeah, I've got my
Thank
question.
you everybody who's been watching us.
Thank you.
Thank Thank you, Gleb. Thank you, Gleb. Thank you, Gleb. Thank you, Gleb. Going. Okay, leaving this building.
You have a picture?
Elvis left the building. Elvis left the building.